So let's dissect this. Lydia's a stalker, allegedly. Lydia's a liar, allegedly. Uche is definitely a lawyer, honey. He picked the right profession. Girl, what? Why was you doing all of that? For Uche? I know you lying. If we gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Put it on the floor then. If Sassy was a person, it would be Izzy. That's what you want to deal with? That's your mans? What is up? It's your girl Lex. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are returning, and if you're new, welcome home, girl. Go ahead and get comfortable because we are jumping into episode 7 of season 5, Love is Blind. Now hold up. Because if you have not watched my first 6 reviews, go ahead and click that card up there. Go ahead. We'll be right here where you left us. I promise you we're not going nowhere. When you finish and you get all caught up, come back over here and we can pick up where you left off from. No, I'm serious. Like, for real, go back and watch those. All right, glad you got caught up because the ones that know we're about to get into this mess. As you know, episode 6 ended with Aaliyah and Uche sitting down and having their little dinner, trying to figure out if they can rekindle what they left in the pods. So you know I don't like to waste no time, honey. Let's go ahead and get into it. So Aaliyah is telling Uche how much she regrets leaving him in the experiment. She tells this man that he still has her heart. She still wants to marry him. I'm already starting the episode off in confusion. And apparently so is Uche. So Uche thought that him and Aaliyah were on the same page about moving forward in the experiment. He is telling her, like, listen, you did not communicate any doubts that you had. You just decided to up and leave and not say anything. So for him, when she gave up on the experiment, she gave up on him. Now he says that what he really wants is someone that won't just up and walk away when things get hard. Basically, he told us the stuff that he's seen his parents go through and the way that they stuck it out would make Love is Blind look like a walk in the park. Which is like, well, what the hell are your parents going through? You know what I'm saying? I think what I'm so confused about is Uche saying that Aaliyah did not express any concerns or doubt. Sir, where were you? We were all there. We got the memo. She expressed her concerns on multiple occasions. And you completely gaslit and disregarded her. Like, Aaliyah even made a good point. Like, listen, the last time I tried to tell you something, you were not really that receptive of what I had to tell you. Therefore, you kind of made it more difficult for her to come to you in the future about future situations. Now, my thing is this, Aaliyah. If you know that, then why is this the person that you want to marry? Why would you want to choose someone that within a span of a week and a half has already made you feel like you can't even express your emotions and your feelings? So if you are aware enough to know that he is not receptive to your emotions, you're okay with accepting someone you're going to have to suppress your emotions for? Make that make sense. So Uche is always has a story time to give this girl. This man has a way with his words that even this man believes everything that comes out of his own mouth. And I think it's insanity. He's telling her, like, you know what? You're right. I wish I would have been more forthcoming with information. Maybe had I told you certain things, you would have kept your guard up a little more when it came to handling Lydia and getting close to Lydia. So I guess he decides that now is the perfect time to give her that context.
I should have explained everything to you because I think you would have had a lot more context. Yeah. A couple of weeks after we started dating, I found out she was doing things to invade my privacy. Right. And she lied to me about it. And like I told you, trust is the most important thing for me in a relationship. Right. And I told her it wasn't going to work, and I broke things off. She kept on calling me. She kept on texting me. She kept on reaching out to me. She apologized about it. And she seemed genuinely remorseful And I thought in my head, okay, some time has passed. Maybe I'll give things another shot with her. So we started to see each other again. Shortly after that, I started receiving messages from people. They would send me a screenshot of her Instagram profile, and they would say, "Do you know this girl?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's Lydia." And they would tell me, "This girl, she's been looking at my Instagram stories for weeks now." So I found out that she was just going through all of the people that I follow and keeping tabs on them. And then the worst thing was, she drives over to my house, she takes a picture of my driveway, and she texts it to me with a message that says, "I see you." And I panicked. I didn't know what to do. But I knew that this wasn't healthy between both of us. So I just stopped talking to her. And after a while, I started to feel bad. She was going through a lot. She had just experienced a loss. So, although I thought that this was unhealthy, I also thought in the back of my head, like, hey, she needs me. So I kept on talking to her until the point in time where I thought things were starting to turn around for her. She had gotten a whole bunch of new friends. You know, she was going to therapy. She was doing a lot better. So I broke it off with her. And I don't know. I didn't bring that up to you because I didn't want to, dig up the past. But I'm like, wow, I should have told Aaliyah that because she would have known maybe Lydia still likes this guy. She's still obsessed with him. Maybe she doesn't have the best intentions when it comes to me. And maybe you would have been able to have your guard up a little bit more.
So let's dissect this. Lydia's a stalker, allegedly. Lydia's mentally unstable, allegedly. Lydia's toxic, allegedly. Lydia's a liar, allegedly. Lydia's sneaky, allegedly. Now, if Lydia is all these things, Uche, why continue to keep dealing with this woman? If Lydia is all these things that you are trying to paint her to be, why keep going back and forth with somebody for 2-3 years? Not only did you go back and forth with her for 2-3 years, but you completely downplayed the level at which you experienced this woman. Now that you are in the crossfire, you are trying to paint this picture of Lydia. But what you are failing to tell us is the part of the picture that you contributed as well. I don't know. Uche has this way of words, and maybe it's that lawyer stuff. I don't know. It gotta be the lawyer in him. But he has this way with his words of he's gonna tell you the truth, but he's gonna omit the part of the truth that incriminates himself. Because you've been telling us this whole time, Lydia's this, Lydia's that, but you have failed to tell us that you are just as toxic as she is. If in fact these things that you were saying about her is true. And Aaliyah even brings up a good point, like, listen, I understand that we're grown, we all have past, we've all dated other people. But what's concerning is the fact that in the pods, you had so much concern for this woman. Like, your concern was that Lydia was not going to get hurt. Whereas, you should have been more concerned about protecting your future wife. And you know what? Valid point. And I'm glad Aaliyah is finally saying what needs to be said. What should have been said a long time ago. I don't understand why you care so much about whether Lydia gets hurt or not. And what's even more confusing now is the fact that you had so much concern for Lydia. But on the other side of that coin, you want to paint this picture and give this narrative that Lydia is so horrible. So which one is it? Now that I think about it, yeah, Uche is definitely a lawyer, honey. He picked the right profession. Here's where I get even more confused. She still thinks she's about to potentially marry this man. She basically tells him that when I left the experiment because the experiment was too much. But I didn't think that you and I were gonna be done. Baby girl, why would you think that? I hate to agree with Uche. Well, Uche was like, listen, the experiment is our relationship. So when you decided to leave the experiment, when you decided to give up on what we were building in the experiment, you gave up on me. And I completely agree. I don't know why she would go out of her way to try to leave and then think that she's still gonna have the man. You left with no communication at all to the person that you're saying that you still desire to be with. Girl, what? Uche is giving us all the tea, baby. He is like, listen, you blocked me and then unblocked me. You followed me, then unfollowed me. You messaged me, then deleted the message. What do you want? Like, Aaliyah girl, why was you doing all of that? For Uche? I know you lying. No, ultimately, Uche is like, listen, I think we're done. But let me tell you something about my pride. After the way that man took her on this emotional roller coaster, and then he gets to be the one to cut it off? No. My pride would not let me accept that. Ain't no way in hell that you gonna leave me after everything you done took me through. Okay, so next we're gonna go ahead and get into Stacy and Izzy. They are visiting Izzy's apartment, allegedly. Y'all, let me tell you something. Initially, no red flags. It's like he said, it's giving very Hobby Lobby. Everything looks clean and put in place. Almost too perfect in a way. So he's just basically showing her around, and they get to Izzy's bedroom. And Stacy notices that there are no side tables. For him to be a bachelor with no side tables, it's very concerning because, like Stacy said, normally when you are a bachelor, there are certain people that you have over all the time that desire nightstands, aka women. We love a good nightstand because where else we gonna put our stuff? So she's like shocked that he doesn't have a nightstand. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I have a place where I keep those things. It's in the lost and found. He keeps all the leftover jewelry and other items that women has left at his house in the lost and found. The lost and found is in the bathroom drawer that also happens to contain the condoms. Imagine telling your future wife that. Stacy is like, what? So you mean to tell me you have a lost and found for women that have left their things over here? He's laughing. He's like, yeah, like, you know, I wasn't gonna hide it from you. Like, this shit is funny. This is not funny. This man does not even know who these items belong to. So it's like, why are you keeping them then? If you don't know who they belong to, then sweetie, why are they still here? Get rid of it. So, you know, she kind of lets it go in this moment. She's like, all right, you know what? You got it. Show me something else before I go off on you. So then they go to the kitchen. He's showing her through the kitchen cabinets and drawers. She's looking around. Stacy says, where's your plates? Where's your cups? Where's the silverware? What do you use to eat with? This man ain't got nothing but plasticware and red Solo cups in his cabinets. No dishes, no pots, no pans, no nothing. Now, this man done told her that he was gonna cook for her. What you serving the food on, sir? The plastic plate? What you giving her something to drink in? The Solo cup? At y'all big age, you mean to tell me that in your 30s you don't own no dishes and you sit up here allegedly cooking for these women and serving them food on plastic? He's like, yeah, like it's the thought that counts. And you know what? Yes, it is the thought that counts. So my thing is, you didn't put enough thought into it. I appreciate you, but if you're really trying to go above and beyond, then baby, you need to go above and beyond and get some plates and some cups. like real plates and cups. So Stacy is like, you know what? This is strike two. First, it was a lost and found. And now you mean to tell me you ain't got no plates? So she decides to address the lost and found thing. This man tells us that he had time to prepare and clean before she came over there. He was there the night prior. He even saw the stuff in the lost and found drawer and did not bother to get rid of it. And he's telling her that he did this because he wants her to see who he was before her. And that he's trying to be raw and authentic with her, and he's not trying to hide anything from her. Whereas when Stacy had time to go and clean her place up, she made sure that she got rid of anything regarding somebody that she dated in her past out of respect for him, to make sure that he doesn't see anything inappropriate. What she tells him is that she would have liked the same respect. And it makes it even more weird that he saw those things knowing she was coming over, but didn't even bother to get rid of them. And Stacy, I 100% agree with you. Y'all, when I tell you Stacy be clocking this man, like she be clocking this man. She's very straight to the point. Like Stacy is very matter of fact. Again, I knew I liked Stacy. So instead of Izzy actually addressing Stacy's concerns, he flips it to what he's concerned about. So he's like, oh, well, you know, when you said that you would judge me for the plates, I felt like you were being materialistic. Are you trying to compete for who feels more so of a way? Not saying that what he's upset about is not valid, but let's address this before we address that. He didn't address it at all. He just jumped to the, oh, well, you made me feel some type of way too. I thought you were more emotionally stable, Izzy. So she's like, you know what? I'm out of here. Stacy walks off. There was no understanding here. And although he did not physically run away from the situation, mentally, emotionally, in that moment, instead of addressing the problem at hand, he diverted to something else. Again, I thought you were more emotionally stable than the other guys she's dealt with, Izzy. So later on in the episode, we see Stacy and Izzy again, and they are in the car on their way to visit her family. Obviously, the blow up that they had, they managed to move past it. Kudos to them. So now it's time to meet her family. They get to her family's house and everybody seems to love Izzy. Like nobody has any concerns. So after they kind of have their little emotional moment, the topic of finances comes up again about, you know, how he doesn't have a passport, how he really hasn't traveled many places, how, you know, how he got into the career field that he's in right now. And Stacy's dad is concerned, as he should be. He's like, you know, it's all great that you guys are in love and everything, but love does not pay the bills. Love sometimes likes to go on long monthly trips and spend whatever money she wants to spend on nice dinners. And sometimes love even likes to fly first class. It's all great and dandy that y'all love each other, but can you afford her? Izzy's like, I hear you. I'm not worried about it. I'm not concerned about not being able to provide for her. She's in good hands. Again, we shall see. All right, so now we have Milton and Lydia. I'm not even gonna waste too much time on them. Milton meets Lydia's mom and brother. And they have a really great conversation. Off rip, they seem to really like Milton. Lydia's mom seems to be very loving of everybody, if I'm being honest. So she does not waste any time with welcoming him into the family. I mean, they're talking about how many kids they want and what language they want them to speak. I mean, it's good conversation, but nothing really too special about this. I will say one thing that kind of stood out about this conversation is that Milton was really shocked at how emotional they were with each other, because Lydia and her mom definitely had a moment and they sit up there crying and everything, just having a moment, you know, having a mother-daughter moment. Milton is like, wow, I'm just not used to this. And I'm just sitting there like, we know. And Milton seems to always have a hard time with expressing his emotions and dealing with anything emotional. So I was not shocked to see him react to them being that way. All right, so it's later in the episode and we are getting everybody together for a little cookout, honey. All the couples are getting together, including their exes from the pods. So everybody is coming back. Everybody is about to see what everybody looks like, what energy everybody is giving. And honey, it's giving a lot. So everybody's just kind of sitting around chatting and catching up. And Johnny girl shows up. Izzy and Stacy are automatically like, ugh, she's here. So the tension is high. Shortly after, Chris comes in and Johnny tells us that her and Chris are official. Why am I not shocked? But also disappointed because Chris, why in the world would you go back to Johnny after everything that occurred and after everything that you know? So right when you think everything is gonna be cool, everything is gonna be calm, everybody's collected, Izzy decides to sit down and talk to Johnny.
Nice to see you.
You seem happy with Stacy, and I'm happy with Chris.
I'm glad I made the decision that I made. I heard a lot of sketchy shit about you. Pretty much the things that you were telling me, I wasn't the only guy you were telling.
So you're upset?
No,
I told other people.
No, you devastated Chris. Understandable. Guys into you. Your intent was to go with me. Get that. And when Chris randomly gets a call from you to go back in and see him.
Why would it matter? You're not seeing me.
No, it didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was you told him one thing and you told me the opposite.
Like, I could leave here with Chris and I know exactly what our life would look like. And I know how he would treat me. But I wasn't falling in love with him. I'm wondering if I repeated a pattern with Izzy. I tend to go for people who are emotionally unavailable.
But are you ready for a switch?
Yes, that's why I'm here. No, I
So
told you all the same thing.
No, you did not. You told Chris that the reason you went with me is because you would date guys that were adventurous, spontaneous, whatever your past was, and I was that.
That's true.
And you told me you would not go with Chris because you saw how your life would be with him and you wouldn't be in love with him. And and you called. Just let me finish. I'll hear you out. Whatever you got to say. And Chris, you were his number one, and he's just like mind fucked. I was like, look, this is what she said about you, and he was just like, what the fuck? This is what she said about you.
Izzy, at what point can I talk? Because you've been talking for like 10
Fair
minutes.
enough.
Can I please talk now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, everything you've said has been accurate. I said, Chris, I can see a clear future. Izzy, I have the most like emotional reaction to. So then when you broke up with me, I replayed both relationships and I repeated a pattern. You were my number one. So to me, I was like fucking heart.
But then again, I wasn't your only number one.
No,
so
you were
again,
my.
Okay,
can you just listen to me real quick? The whole time we were in the pods, the whole time we were dating, I had one number one. Which is why I'm now trying to make shit up to Chris for being my number two. In the end, you were right. You're not my person. I'm not your person. I think we're emotionally volatile.
If I can give you advice.
No, I don't need your advice.
I feel like you do need it because honestly, it's not just me. Everyone thinks you're sketchy as fuck.
Okay.
Honestly, like.
Thank you.
And this is not to bash you. This is just. I was emotionally invested in you at a point in time, and I'm so glad that I didn't end up that way. Not because of our connection, it's everything that I heard.
Should you maybe realize exactly what you're saying, and it was nothing
exactly
to do with me, and it has everything to do with talk? Because that's not who I am as a person, and isn't what everyone else is saying. So who are you?
Because that's what the experiment's about.
I'm trying to tell you, and you've never listened to me. So I don't know what you want me to tell you.
I've listened to everything about you.
Because I'm not sketchy as fuck. Do you think I would end up with the nicest guy in here if I was sketchy as fuck? You don't know my story, and y'all are the sketchy as fuck ones. So I'm done with this. You aren't even listening to me.
Good luck to you.
Good luck to you, bro.
And that's what happens when you're caught up in your bullshit.
That went about as bad as it could.
Now, Izzy, It's giving sassy. I know we've been wearing that word out, but if sassy was a person, it would be Izzy. The excitement that he got out of calling her out on her bull, only women act like that. He's literally over talking her, calling her names. He even thinks that he's in a good enough position to be giving this girl advice. I just don't understand what he gained from this conversation. So what are we talking about? Why are we wasting each other's time? Why are we going back and forth? Izzy initiated this conversation, which makes him look even more like trash. You're trash. Meanwhile, while Chris is over here consoling Johnny, Izzy goes off to Stacy to tell her the conversation that he just had, and he is too excited. He way too happy. He's like, yo, I just called her out on her shit. I told her that she was sketchy and nobody trusts her. Even Stacy's looking like, why are you so wound up about this? However, I will say, Stacy, girl, it looked like you were feeding into his drama too, because you don't like Johnny either. So that's a bit concerning that you're kind of feeding into this energy that Izzy is giving off, because it's a turn off. It's really making me look at her like, girl, that's what you want to deal with? That's your man's? And right when you think that it can't get no worse, Uche shows up. And guess what Uche goes to do? Talk to Lydia. If you're not thrown off by this, I'm looking at you funny. Uche saw somebody that was weak, and he knew that if he found somebody that was weak, he could manipulate them. So he latched onto Lydia, knowing that she was not in the best place, but took advantage of that. Lydia is not having it. She's not trying to hear nothing he gotta say. He's over talking her. He's spewing lies. He's painting this narrative, painting this picture, and he's dedicated to it too. He's like, no, I'm gonna get the last word. I ain't gonna say what I gotta say. You gonna let me finish. So they're getting into this heated argument. Uche is talking. That's all he good for. Talking. And they keep bringing up the fact that something obviously happened with them that we're not getting all the context and detail to. And my thing is this. If we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. Put it on the floor then. If y'all are gonna keep bringing up what really happened, don't hint at it. Tell us what happened. Because Lydia is sitting there like, bro, you not about to sit here and lie on me and make me look like I'm this certain person when I'm really doing you a favor and I'm really sparing you by not telling the truth. Do you really want me to tell the truth? Do you really want me to do that on this show? Lydia drops this bomb that while you was doing all of this pointing the fingers and making Aaliyah feel bad for something she did 2 years ago, what you need to be telling her and everybody else here is that you cheated on me. You're trying to make it seem like I was going through your phone, going through your stuff, doing all of this, doing all of that. Why don't you tell everybody that you cheated on me? But yet you tried to crucify Aaliyah. What? So they're getting into this heated argument. And everybody else is like, yo, Milton, go get your girl. Like, go make sure she's straight. He go over there. He's like, we have somewhere to be in like 10 minutes. So let's wrap this up. Can we finish this? And, you know, he swoops in and he's trying to help Lydia. But Lydia is like, you know, give me a few more minutes. Let me just finish the conversation. Girl, when your man say y'all got somewhere to be in 10 minutes, get your ass up and get up out of there. He was trying to save you. But you decided you wanted to sit there and continue talking to Uche. The more they sat there and talked, the more he continued to paint this picture, put this narrative out about Lydia, and the more she has to sit there and defend herself. When in fact, if what he's saying is not true, why are you giving energy to lies? And also, another thing, Uche, you got all this evidence about how she's stalking you, stalking other people's Instagrams. You got all these receipts, right? Where's the receipts that show she knew you were gonna be on the show? That's what we wanna see. Give us that. Give us that. Until we have that, there ain't nothing else to talk about. I just knew this conversation was not gonna go anywhere. It's negative. It's a mess. This episode was a lot. I cannot take it. Uche is insane. Izzy might be an F-boy. Lydia might have anger issues. Johnny actually is sketchy. Chris is stupid. It's something wrong with everybody. Everybody is messed up. Alright, y'all, that's gonna be it for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.